Hello, I'm Nick Reynolds and I'm going to do a bass arrangement of Jingle Bells and then talk you through it, basically how I go about arranging simple tunes like Jingle Bells for a bit of a Christmas special today. Right. There, so that was a kind of silly, fun kind of arrangement of Jingle Bells, and I just want to explain how you would take a song like Jingle Bells and make it slightly jazzier, and also how to think about various things on the bass guitar to make it interesting. So first of all, behold the Christmas board. What we have here is the diatonic chord sequence of C major, which I'm playing Jingle Bells in. Okay, so the usual 1, 2, 3, 4 chord, dominant seventh, Aeolian, Locrian, and then back to 1. So we've got basically the diatonic chord sequence there, and what I've written actually underneath each of those are every single 2/5 that can approach those diatonic chords. So for example, we have a D minor 7th, G7 to C major, and then a E minor 7 flat 5 to A7 to D minor, and F sharp minor 7th flat 5, B7 to E minor, and then G minor 7th, C7 to F major, and then A minor 7th, D7 to G7, okay? Then B minor 7 flat 5, E7 to A minor, and you can even do C sharp minor 7 flat 5, F sharp minor 7th, F sharp dominant 7th, and then to B half diminished if you want to, okay? Now, alongside those, every one of these 2/5s can be tritoned as well. So I can also have an approach, for example, of A flat minor 7, which is the tritone of D minor 7, followed by D flat 7, which is the tritone of G7, to C major 7th, okay? Now, this is interesting because if you write this out for the key center that you're actually playing in, it gives you a variety of interesting chords to start then reharmonizing your piece of music with, especially if it is staying in one particular diatonic progression. So, without further avail, I'll just explain a little bit about my arrangement of Jingle Bells. So Jingle Bells as a melody is again ideal for this kind of solo bass style, because it literally just looks like this. And so on and so forth. Okay, so I can do this all on one string, which gives me plenty of leeway basically to add all sorts of different additional chords and harmonics and various things like that. The second thing which is pretty interesting about this is that Jingle Bells has got an extremely simple harmonic progression. It basically goes like this, if I can whistle the tune because I can't sing very well. So literally just 1, 4, 5, and then D7th, and that's it, okay? That gives me a lot of scope. Now if I was doing a bass arrangement and just using those chords, it's just going to sound like something like... and so so on and so forth. Now, which is actually a good thing to do first of all when you're sort of learning a tune and actually rearranging it, because it's quite useful to actually understand the initial harmony before you start adding things. Now, just to explain what I've done with my arrangement, first of all, the verse, I thought it'd be quite nice and Christmassy, like the reindeer sort of going along, to have kind of some sort of movement using the harmonic and a drone. And again, I might use, if I was doing this as a genuine arrangement, something like a phaser pedal or something like that, maybe even a loop or something like that. And we could even use a lot of sleigh bells if you want to create a Christmas atmosphere. All I've got is a set of keys at the moment, but if I was to do this actually properly, I could sort of add various sort of textural ideas. But I got that from the fact that I'm also a 5-string banjo player, and I like the idea of kind of drone ideas. Okay, once I've done that, okay, we have a G7 with a tritone substitute, which I can add here, for example, or all the way down there, as long as I can actually hit it in the right place. And then we start off with C major 7, okay? So what I've done is I've actually written out some of my substitute chords underneath, and all I'm drawing on are all of these kind of preceding 2-5-1 chords to kind of create some sense of motion. So C major 7 is the first one, but then I'm going to move to a tritone F sharp 7 or a G flat 7, which leads me into the 4 chord. So I've got, okay, and then I'm going to go to my 3 chord in C major, and then I've got a kind of a kind of preceding 5 chord into the D minor chord, so A 7th, okay. Then I've got D minor 7th, a G sus, G7 flat 9, okay, again, always thinking of kind of preceding so using those ideas of kind of like the harmonized major and minor scale, or these kind of secondary dominants to kind of move into the chord that you're actually leading to. So if I go through that again, C major, tritone into the 4 chord, okay. Then I've got a 6 chord, then I've got this kind of preceding chord into D minor, sus chord, because I like the sound of those, G7 flat 9, C major 7th. Now there's all sorts of things I can do here, because I'm going to go up to a G minor 7th next, which will be moving into the 4 chord again. So I could do, and then a kind of tritone substitution into F, or I can do what I did, which was moving into it like that, or I can even do like a just sort of bebop kind of Dizzy Gillespie I can't get started trick, where I could do something like just hang on the C major 7th and then approach the 2-5 like 4 above it. So that's quite a nice little trick that I got from Can't Get Started With You, which Tal Farlow uses quite a lot. Then we've got F major 7th. Now I can do a nice little minor kind of 4 chord there, or I can even use the what we call the backdoor kind of 5 chord in C, which is a B flat 7, which is up here, okay. And then I've got E7, which again is the chord, the dominant chord that would precede moving into the 6th chord, which I'm using there. Then we've got D7th, tritone substitution, A flat 7th, which will be the tritone substitution moving into G7th. Okay. Then we've got D minor 7th and then G7th, which again I'm adding a little tritone just at the end of that. Okay, then we're back to C major 7th. That's a tritone into the 4 chord, E minor 7th. Now I'm using A7 flat 9, which means I can use any sort of diminished movement whilst I'm doing that to create some kind of interesting kind of effect. Then we've got that again, D minor 7th, G sus, G7 flat 9. Then I went straight to G minor 7 that time, and then played a few inversions of G minor 7th. Moves into F major 7th. This time I varied it by using that backdoor B flat 7 instead of the F minor. Then E7 flat 9, which leads me to the A minor 7, which is the 6th chord in the key of C major. And then we've got D minor 7th, Then I went to an A flat major 7, which just chromatically leads me into a G sus. And again, this is all about trying to kind of create some form of movement when you're playing. Then I played a G7 flat 9. Again, if I wanted to put the bass in, I can do, or I don't need to. Then I went into a chromatic median of C, which is A flat major 7. Then a minor plagal 4 called a subdominant, okay? Then into C, and then I quoted up "We Wish You a Merry Christmas" just because it's vaguely funny and it's Christmassy. And in fact, I then finished with Silent Night. It's always risky playing in false harmonics at the end of a piece, just in case you fluff them, which I just did there. But you know, so that's it basically. That's a kind of reharmonization of Jingle Bells, and as I say, almost all of that was drawing on the idea that Jingle Bells is in the key of C major. It has these diatonic chords here. It has these preceding 2 5s that I know we can use to move into any of those chords, and these tritone substitutions I can also use to move into those chords, plus a few little kind of bass tricks like harmonics and various kind of movements I've worked out to create something sort of vaguely interesting. Anyway, that would be it for today. I hope that was useful, and obviously have a very Merry Christmas. Cheers.